Hey,
Hey, look at that. We got a little bit of a different setup going today.
just a little bit.
A little bit of a different setup. My name's Jack.
My name's Jake.
This is Live at 5 at Island Music Company. And I'm pretty excited because this right here is the Fender Tone Master Pro.
Which all of us love.
We love it.
Musicians, sound guys, we all do.
It's fantastic. Everywhere I own one. And every gig I've taken it to, every venue I've walked in with it, it immediately goes from, ooh, what's that? To, ooh, that's a Fender multi-effect unit, to, oh, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
Like everyone ends up falling in love with it. What's great is, just alone on the back of it, you have 4 effects loops, 2 expression controls. What's great about this is that they've gone as far as to think about a multi-effect unit that has an amp control button. So even if you just want to treat it as a multi-effect unit and not as an amp modulator or simulator, you can run the TRS cable from here to your amp and change the channels between the overdrive 1 and 2, turn your reverb on and off. So it gives you the function to really control whatever setup you want to do. Because of the effects loops on here, you can set up a 4 cable method. You can set up as just a regular pedal board. You can treat it as a full-blown amp simulation rig. It does everything. USB out so you can control it as a recording interface into your DAW. Micro SD so you can, I believe it's for importing, and I haven't really spent much time looking into it because I use a DAW. I'm not really recording on the fly.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can record to the SD, but mic and line as well as instrument and MIDI.
Yeah.
That's just me talking about what the things are on the back. Not to mention it's got channel 1 and 2 outputs, XLR and quarter-inch.
Yeah, and pretty much for today's setup, it's just XLR main out left of the unit into the mixer. No EQ, change, no nothing.
Yeah. There's not really a ton guitar-wise we're going to talk about today. I've got 3 guitars behind me, each one used for its own demo sake on the Tone Master here, because back in November, the Tone Master came out with a new patch update. And what's great about this is I've already been using the Tone Master 1 for my full band. So I'm already using it to play electric guitar. And I have the Tone Master cab, the FR10. I think I have the 10. That sounds good. It's either the 10 or the 12. They both sound great. I forget which one I have. But it sounds phenomenal. So I've been using that. You go straight from here to the FR. The FR has a direct out, so if you want, you can run that into a PA system, or you can mic it, and you get that sound of like a mic'd amp. It's pretty cool. So I've been using that for all my electric stuff. For my acoustic gigs, there's a way to split the line and instrument inputs on here into 2 separate outputs on the back. And so I've got one that has, for my microphone, compression and reverb on the microphone. And then for my instrument, I've got chorus, delay, reverb, everything for my acoustic. But now, what they're really going to let you get into is the bass. Now, there's already been an option for a clean amp. They call it the Studio Bass Rig. And it's just a clean amp. It's literally just gain, volume, and an EQ, but there's no tone profile to it.
Yeah.
Well, now they've gone in and they've added 2 Fender bass amps, like classic. They didn't add all the rumbles. Those will probably come in a later update. But right now, you can mess with the Bassman and a Bassman, I think it's a Drive and a Vintage. Well, they put the Bassman for the electric guitar, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
But they put Fender bass amps, and then they put a couple Ampegs in there. So you get an Ampeg, which emulates the old SVT with the 810 cabinet,
All right.
the refrigerator of a bass amp. No one liked to see those coming. If you're in the other band and you're taking your stuff off the stage, and I can't tell you how many times I used to play bass in a band. I was up there with my Portaflex 15 with my PF. I had the 500 head. Sometimes, depending on the venue, I'd pull out the 210, go 210, 115. Nice solid rig. Most times you're just rocking the 115. Had wheels on it. Flip the top back into it, close it all up, wheel it off the stage. You're done. You're out of the way. All the other bands that come up after you are thankful that you just had the one cab and you're off the stage.
And now we have something similar again.
And then, as you're wheeling your 115 cab off the stage and you're headed towards the back door of the venue, because they made all the bands load in and out of the back door, I'll never forget playing, I think it was in Baltimore, I think it was called The Depot. And you had to load in and out the back door because they didn't want you taking your gear through the front where all the patrons are. Get my amp, load it out the back door, go back inside. I open the door to let someone in, and then the next band's bass player, I see them rolling up the sidewalk, Ampeg SVT 810. And they had to bring it up like stairs that felt like you were on a fire escape. And I just remember thinking, I'm not sticking around for that. And I walked back to the bar, grabbed a beer with my band, and hung out. But all I remember thinking is, maybe they didn't know the load-in. But no one likes the bass player that rolls in with an 810 cabinet and asks for help to carry it up the stairs.
No.
It's not a good time.
No.
Well, Jake, you don't have to do that anymore.
Really?
Now you don't. Because now, this alone, I have 3 810 amps that I can choose from.
Okay.
And I can plug in direct. I can plug in through these Fender ToneMaster powered cabs. And it sounds great. The other thing that's in here is they've also emulated the Ampeg flip top amp, the old with the tube amp, and you flip it. That's in here too, 15-inch. And then there's a 59 Bassman, and along with the 59 Bassman, they've added a few pedals, so a couple overdrives, the old 80s style tube screamer. They call it the Mythic Drive 2, but it's the silver Centaur pedal.
Okay.
So there's the bronze color that everyone loses their mind over. They cost like $6,000. Every company has tried to copy it. Now there's the silver version of it. And then they've added a looper, a couple EQ pedals. There's a bass overdrive. And then, this is really cool. We were messing with it earlier. The virtual capo.
Yep.
It's a very interesting pedal.
It is. It's something.
Works well with some instruments. Not so well with others.
Well, we'll come back to this. Just put a pin in this.
We'll get to it. All I'm going to say is the instrument that we tried it on that it didn't work well with, I'm curious that it would work well with that same instrument but a different pickup.
Oh. You know what? That is true.
Because the guitar we're using, or used to try it out, the pickup are, they're like sensors in the body.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not like a under saddle type deal. It's like I can't think of the word, but it's a sensor that's in the body. So it's picking up vibrations from within the body rather than being under saddle. So I'm wondering if maybe that might have played an effect on it. I'd be curious to see how the Taylor ES2 system works on it. So after this live stream in the next few days, as long as it doesn't sound terrible, I'll make another video demoing all the different styles of acoustic pickups in it, and we'll see which one sounds best.
Yeah, because pretty much what we use are pretty much standard across the board, where the acoustics, you have so many different
of course.
placements.
There's so many different things. So we're going to start with bass, because I've got 2 bass settings, and then we'll roll out of there. What I'm using here is the Player 2 P bass. And I'm also using these cool straps from D'Addario. What do they call these? These are the auto lock straps. These are phenomenal. They're great because what's super cool is rather than me fussing around with a bunch of different instruments and stuff the whole time, I can just simply pull this latch here, strap comes off, I can lock it onto the Firebird behind me. And it locks. It's not just resting in place. It's a lock that's built into the strap that comes right off. I can put it on any other guitar here in the shop. 80% of the guitars here in the shop. Some shops have the placements of their strap buttons are weird or they're too wide.
Yeah.
But not the situation here. So another cool feature about the ToneMaster that we did not talk about. Jake, am I muted? Because I realize I don't think I'm on the tuner section.
All right, you're muted.
Cool. Another cool feature about this is that I can control the ToneMaster from an iPad that's kind of off screen. So
yeah.
So this is what I like about this. I can hang back here. I have an iPad that controls it. You can kind of see how things will change on here a little bit. What I'm running through right now is the Super Bassman Vintage. And it's a real simple setup. I have not messed with the dials on these at all. We're just plugged straight in. So there's no changes to anything. You're getting bass. The bass is dimed. I just like doing that. But the amp I've not touched. I loaded it, tested it, saved it, walked away. It sounds really.
Yeah.
It's. So that's the vintage setting. Nice, smooth. It's got a little bit of saturation in the tone, so I like that. It really gives you a good job of what the vintage setting's going for there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bypass that. In that same channel, I'm gonna load the overdrive, and we're gonna play the same exact thing. So right away you can hear the drive, you can hear the low end. But what I like about it is it's not destroying anything. It's not bottoming out, it's not flattening anything. The tone is still there, the sound you were looking for is still there. And it sounds fantastic. And what's great is I have it set up on here. You can't do it on the iPad because the iPad is just an editor. But right here, I have this little trick that I like to do on the Tone Master. I can set both amps up on one foot switch, and it allows me to just cycle back and forth between the amps. I like doing that because instead of having to switch presets, if all I want to do is get a different profile of an amp, why build two whole presets if I can just swap back and forth between amps? I like doing it on the EVH profiles because a lot of the EVH players, if you're using a stealth amp, 5150, something like that, you want to swap back and forth between your gain channels, right?
Yeah.
And so why swap presets if I can just add the green channel and the blue channel to here and create a patch that allows me to just hit a foot switch that goes back and forth.
That will be interesting when like you want two different amps. You like one amp that is more good clean, and then just switch into something.
It's kind of funny because you would think a lot of people out there, how many of y'all in something like this have created multiple patches with the same exact pedals, the same, all the delays are divided the same way, all the drives are gained the same way, but the only difference is a different amp because you're playing a different guitar through it. We don't need to do that on here.
Yeah.
You can assign that one foot switch to just swap back and forth between the amps.
The amp is the effects pedal.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah. What's better than that? All right, so that's the super basement options. I'm gonna go back here to my list. We're gonna load up the Ampeg stuff now. What's cool about this is these are classic amps. So right now, right off the bat, it's just loaded into that SVT style 8x10. Very smooth. That sounds really good. That was the first one we played when we set it all up, and right away Jake and I are both like, oh, that's good. That's
right out.
Right away. Again, no tweaking, no nothing. It sounds fantastic. They did a great job. And what's great about this is not a lot of these other components out there that do these same very similar things to the Tone Master have bass settings.
Yeah.
If these sound this good, I'm very excited to see, like, maybe they'll throw some like GK like model types in there. Once they start doing the rest of the Fender line, like put a rumble in here and you're good to go. Like, not trying to knock these other amps, but like I'd say the rumble is like a staple bass amp. It's our most selling bass amp. It's easy to control. It's a nice modern contemporary sound. That's my only knock on the bass amps that are in here so far, is none of them are a modern sound. They're all vintage style sounds, which is great. I love that. But a lot of bass players, they want that modern amp tone, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you'll get something in here that emulates something like a Darkglass or an Aguilar. But right now, all the bass amps that they've loaded are of the more vintage mod and mindset of amps. So let's go ahead and pull up the 66 flip top. So it's just a old tube-driven Ampeg amp sitting on top of a 115 cab. Right away, there's just a lot of punch. There's a lot that gets delivered from that right away, and they're all good. I'm blown. I like these. I'm gonna go. I haven't even had a chance to update mine yet, because I've just been everywhere with it. I've just been hitting all the gigs, all the venues. So I've just been using it for what I need to use it for. I get home and I don't want to spend. No, I'll get to this in a second. I get home and I don't want to spend time updating it because I want to practice. I want to play. I want to learn the songs my band's working on.
Yeah.
However, the process that goes into, I'm going to unplug here.
Okay.
And just leave it muted because I'll have to plug the guitar in afterwards.
Yeah.
The process that goes into updating the firmware on the Tone Master is arguably the easiest thing I've ever had to do in the world. You go to the Fender website, you download the firmware file, you plug in the Tone Master USB to your computer,
Okay.
and then all you do is open the folder, drag the downloaded firmware file into the folder that belongs to your Tone Master, and then right away initiates the update, tells you to restart it, you load it back up, finishes the update, and restarts back on your home screen.
That is good.
Maybe 5 minutes.
Compared to all the other equipment I've ever had
Of course. And that's all it takes. That's all it takes. It took maybe about 5 minutes.
Uh-huh.
All right, so now we're going to go ahead and plug in this Firebird. And so for those of you at home that are kind of tuning in and watching in, the Epiphone Firebird, this is the 63 from the Inspired by Gibson version. The Inspired by Gibson stuff has just been phenomenal across the board. Everything about it has been great.
Yeah.
This guitar here uses, I think it was a mahogany and walnut body, has the mini Gibson humbuckers. It's hard to see because I've put the strap on, but I can, flip it over, maybe it shows off a little bit. But it's a Kluson, what did they call them?
Well, I might be able to help.
There's a special name for the tuners, I can't, but it's an interesting type because it's, they're recessed through the back of the headstock there. Has the nice vibrola system. I love this, ice, what do they call it? Frost blue. And, it's just.
Yeah, and you have the mini humbuckers as well, because I just remembered that I got that on the website today.
Yeah, we just uploaded it. We just had the pictures done last week, or earlier this week. It's a fantastic guitar. There's not really any wrong you can do with it.
Yeah.
The Inspired by Gibson line has been, as we all know, something I very much love.
You want me on mute?
Yeah. Not only do I very much love it, I bought that V.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had a chance to talk about it on here yet, but that V is now mine.
Really?
So this is the 63 Epiphone Firebird. It is running through the new Bassman amp that came out through the update here. This is the 59 Bassman Custom. Of course, you have your normal volume, you got your bright volume, your EQ controls. There's almost no bass put into this, obviously. It's a little quieter.
Yeah.
Meaning the bass is quieter. Nice trebly, nice bite and action from the amp. So 59 Custom, the Bassman 59 Custom, and then there's a few pedals that they've released out as well. We mentioned the Tube Screamer from the 80s, we've mentioned the Mythic 2, and then the Capo option.
Yeah.
So first up, let's get into the green box, which is what they call the Tube Screamer. Let me make sure, yes, so that's going to be right here. Rips.
Yeah.
And this is great. It's the 80s style Tube Screamer. It's got all the controls you would want from that. So if I mess with it here, I've got drive, tone, level, Blend, you have the bass, which allows you to go back between, you have the stock option, +1, +2 when it comes to your bass level. We'll go ahead and bypass that one for now. Let's pull up the Mythic 2. The Mythic 2 is great. It's just real simple. You're just going to have gain, treble, and output. That's all it is. And it really doesn't take much at all for that to give you the dirt, the saturation, the grittiness. I love the word saturation all of a sudden. And it's just, it honestly, I'm gonna go home and update mine. I think this sounds great. I need to get these updates going. So that's the Mythic Drive. And then this one, how do I put it? This one caught my interest the most. I've learned a lot of songs. I play a lot of songs. I play all types of gigs, everything from open mics to bars to tour to church. There's everything, right? And when you do that many things, you learn that many different types of songs and all this different kind of material. Your best friend is the capo. Because sometimes you're going to land in a church and next thing you know, you're playing in B or B flat. And it's just easier to throw a capo on 3 or 4 and roll with the G shapes. And it doesn't sound terrible.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty good. So Fender, in the latest version of the Tone Master, has released the Virtual Capo. And this caught my interest the most because I love a good drop tune pedal. I hit my microphone. I held my microphone. I have personally the Digitech drop pedal, and I think it's one of the greatest, most inventive pedals. Innovative.
Okay.
The word's innovative. It's one of the most innovative pedals to really ever come out, and it's very accurate. Now, on some things, you lose the accuracy on it. If you start playing with real heavy bass, like heavy strung basses or something like that, it gets kind of flubby. And you can hear the digital ripple in the sound. But otherwise, you pick up a guitar like this, put it in standard, drop it a few semitones, and next thing you know, you're in drop D. You're in drop C. Well, C, D standard, C standard.
Yeah.
And it sounds great. So I was real curious, like, what does this Virtual Capo sound like? So I went through, and I'm going to have to come around here and hit everything because I made some presets on the Tone Master itself. So by default, we're going to put this in the key of B. So right now, let me make sure I'm totally tuned. Tootly is the new word for that, by the way. It's just creating words, folks. That's all it is. The tuner on here is phenomenal, by the way, if you've never messed around with the tuner that comes on these things. I have to make sure we're all tuned up because otherwise, when you start getting into pitch correction, and if your guitar's not in tune, I hate to break it to you, that pitch correction ain't gonna sound pretty.
No.
And so you always want to make sure when you start messing with pitch correction that you're in tune. Because if you're not in tune, it's just gonna sound terrible. All right, I'm gonna move the vibrola out of the way so I don't actually hit it. We're in the middle, so both pickups are activated. Here I am playing G. Real simple, easy to manage.
Yep.
We're gonna hit this right here, and it's gonna put us in the key of B. Through the amp, it sounds good. It sounds a lot better than I expected it to.
Yeah.
You're gonna have the little bit of an issue where you're hearing this and the guitar itself in standard, but you're hearing it come through your amplification in a different key. Now, we're gonna bypass the amp because I'm wondering if the cleaner profile helps kind of clean this up a little bit because you can hear a little bit as a. I think it sounds better with the amp.
Yeah.
So we're gonna turn the amp back on. But here's what I really like about the Toastmaster. It gives you this option to do.
Okay.
In other settings, if I wanted to reach all these different keys and not have to mess with all my knobs, I would have to plug in multiple pitch pedals and turn one on and off and cycle back and forth. But on here, I can set each of these switches to different parameter controls. So right now I'm in the key of B. But as long as that's activated, I can hit this one here that made the key of A. And it changes everything to A
Yeah.
because it allows me to change the parameter. Now what's great is when you set the parameter control, it allows you to say, all right, what's the active pitch range? What's the inactive pitch range? So if I hit this again, it goes right back to where I left off on the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Now if I go down here, I have a half step down. Now we determined earlier this one does not sound great. It's not. It doesn't chord well, however. Individually note-wise, it's great. I would say it probably sounds best monophonic than it does polyphonic.
Yeah.
And it probably goes for most cases as well as chords in the same position. Now, if I go to D standard, however, because I have the half step down and then a whole step down, D standard didn't sound too bad earlier. I think that might be one of the better sounding ones.
Yeah.
But you can hear that muddiness. You can hear where it flubs a little bit. But again, go back to the mono note, monophonic. Sounds a lot better.
Yeah.
Now, there is something to be said that will we ever perfect the art of truly digitized pitch shifting as far as changing keys, not so much just like, monetarily hitting something while you're soloing. Mm-hmm. Maybe one day. I think there's plus and minuses to it all. I think if you set the signal path up correctly, you could probably hide some of that muddiness and some reverb and delay.
Yeah.
And it'd probably sound fine. But I think on its own, it's getting there. I would like to, me personally, sorry, microphone. Me personally, I think maybe in a future patch update, they might clean it up a little bit. But for all intents and purposes, it's not bad.
No.
It's some of the better ones I've heard. So I will give Fender that. It's not perfect, but in their defense, none of them really are.
No.
No,
Yeah.
I've yet to see a perfect drop tune pedal or capo pedal. Like, there's not really like a perfect solution out there.
Yeah, I would definitely say that we, as in not the store, but with everyone, that we'll definitely get to it. It's just the more that we're
technology has to develop. And what's great about this is it's not the one sole purpose you should be buying a Tonemaster anyways, right? It's a fun thing to experiment with, but there's so many other things you can do on the Tonemaster that if you look at this as a reason to have a capo built into your rig, you're looking at it for the wrong reason. There's a lot of great options and opportunities you can do with this. I am more than willing and happy. This is actually a demo model we have in the store.
Yep.
And I'm in the process of anytime Fender wants to do a patch or a firmware update, I'm going to create presets and patches that'll just have all the new features on it.
Okay.
So I've got 3 that I created from this most recent one, 2 being the Fender bass amps, or 1 being the Fender bass amps, number 2 being the Ampeg bass amps with the Tech 21 style bass overdrive pedal, and then number 3 being this Bassman with those 3 effect pedals that we showed you. The looper, I did not get a chance to mess with because that's going to require some in-depth figuring out. It's called the glooper, and what it allows you to do is create several pitches at different times, rates, and tempos.
Yeah.
Or several loops at different times, rates, and tempos. I haven't touched that. We're too busy in a day for me to sit down and mess with 4 loops at different tempos. Like, who has time for that? I'm not in store. When I get home, I can mess around with it, but not tonight. Not today, I mean. So, plenty of new features that came out with that, and it's pretty cool. I'm not gonna do it because it would be
Okay.
doing Fender pretty dirty.
Okay.
But I will talk about it because it's worth mentioning because
Yes.
it's something that needs to be talked about, something that needs to be developed. This here is one of my favorite acoustics in the store. This is the Laurette series from Alvarez. It's with a nice daybreak glow finish on it. The LF70E V-shaped neck with a nice compound on it. The F stands for folk because, you know, it's like that auditorium type size guitar.
Yeah.
Oh, it feels so good. Is a quad A spruce top, solid rosewood body, handcrafted in China. Fantastic guitar. It's on my list. So,
Of course it is.
however, this guitar uses the LR Baggs Hi-Fi pickup system. And what that does, transducer. It's a transducer. The word I couldn't remember earlier. So the LR Baggs Hi-Fi system, rather than having a microphone in the body, rather than having a undersaddle pickup, it has two transducers on the bottom of the bridge that are right here, and they're picking up all the tone and vibrations from inside the guitar.
Yeah.
When we plugged it into the virtual capo, it did not sound good at all.
Oh no.
It was not great. But I'm wondering, and we need to figure this out, is it because of the pickup style on the guitar? If I grab a Taylor with an ES2, if I grab something that uses an undersaddle system, and then maybe let's also grab a guitar that has the microphone in it and compare them all, one of those has to sound better than the others because of how the guitars are constructed.
Another interesting thought that I just had is the PRS with that has the piezo.
Oh yeah, the
As
piezo,
well.
yeah.
That will be interesting.
Grab a guitar with the piezo. We'll grab a Acoustasonic.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all kinds of options to it. I think if we had a guitar that had cleaner pickups, because you know the mini humbuckers have some ferocity to them.
Yeah.
I think if we grabbed a guitar that maybe, I bet if we grab like an Ultra with the noiseless pickups in it, it's probably sound fantastic. So I think there's a lot of features that go into this capo pedal that are affecting the overall outcome of said pedal.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad pedal. I
No.
don't think that at all. I think it sounds great. I think there's just a lot of factors you got to take into consideration when you want to really use it.
Well, and like you were saying, there's so many different
Yeah.
acoustic.
So that will be probably I think there'll be a fun upcoming video to just sit here and compare which types of pickups sound better through that. So we'll get to that here soon. But I'm glad I got to mess around with all these things because it's a fun new rig. It's a great updates. I love the amps that were added. I love the pedals that were added. I can't wait to add it to my own, even though they're probably 2 months old at this point. Life gets away from you. It's hard sometimes to sit down and plug your pedal board into your computer.
Yeah.
It's things I wouldn't say 5 years ago. You know, like it's
As we know, it's pretty easy process.
so easy. It's so easy. I think the problem is I just need a long enough USB cable. It's the way my stuff is set up. But that's all really I've got today. One of the highlights from the new items that came in on the update from the Tone Master. I think all the amps, the pedals sound great. Everything sounds awesome. I'm excited to figure out the pickup configuration and the issues that might cause the virtual capo to come into different factors. Because when you pull it up, you have a mix knob, you have a tracking knob, and you've got resolution that gives you high and low resolution. The tracking is a little switch that goes from normal to fast. So, you know, I'm running out of time here because we're going over 30 minutes at this point. But that switch will probably factor into the cleanliness of it as well. The mix knob, depending on what you're messing with. Usually, I think if you just want the full effect, you probably just want that at 100%.
Yeah.
But if you have this, I encourage you to plug in the pedal, try it out, come back and comment on this video and let me know what you figured out with messing around with it.
Yeah.
And we'll post a few other things here down the road and see what we come up with. I think it's fantastic, so hopefully no one at Fender watches this and thinks, oh, they're bashing.
Yeah,
No, I think
no,
it's a great addition. It's a fantastic update. And I'm excited to figure out how to use it. Because one, I want to know how to use it. I use a capo on my guitars all the time. So if all I have to do is hit this button and not have to mess with putting a capo on my guitar all the time.
Right.
That's fantastic. It'd be changing between songs way easier,
Yeah.
right? Especially because of the set list feature that's on the top. I forgot there's a set list feature. You can create a patch based off of all your. You can create a set list based off of the patches per your songs.
Really?
So if I know I'm playing a song in the key of B, and I don't want to mess with the capo anymore, all I gotta do is hit that switch. When I go to that song, that preset loads, and it'll just put everything in there with that capo patch on there. Done.
Huh.
Game changer.
Yeah.
Just gotta figure out what kind of style pickups it works best with.
Yeah.
Sounds like a fun experiment to me. So
I'm
all
down
right,
for it.
so that was that's live at 5. I know I wanted to talk about some NAMM preview stuff, but we didn't really get there because this took up way more time than I thought it would. So for now, here's the NAMM preview. Keith and I are going to NAMM. We're meeting with companies, and we're finding out what's going to be new. There's your 10-second NAMM preview. We didn't have time to really get into it. But while we're on the subject, drop us a message next time you're in the store. Say hey. And if there's companies you would like to see here at Island Music, let us know. Sometimes we don't. There's so many things out there, and we have so much in store already. It's hard for us to know what we should carry because we're our pulse is on everything. And there's a lot of companies that want us to carry their product.
Yeah.
So what are you into? What do you want in? What do you want to see in here next? I shouldn't say it's hard for us to figure out. We know what's out there. It's just a matter of, totally honest, a lot of it's kind of the same. So I have boutique companies hit me up all the time, and there's just, it's just.
The one I always get is the smart guitar.
The smart guitar, yeah, that'll never happen. Sorry. That's.
I get it
But
all
we
the
get
time.
companies all the time. It's like, hey, we built custom guitars, but it's just another Strat. Sorry. I'm just gonna keep stocking custom shops. Like, this is fun. This is a good time. All right. So ToneMaster Pro, all kinds of great new updates. The 63 Epiphone Firebird, fantastic guitar. We'll be at NAMM in a couple weeks, so I'm excited to see what's there. We're gonna do a live stream from NAMM.
Yes.
So that'll be fun. It'll be me, and I believe we're doing it with Taylor Guitars. It'll be me and our sales rep, Don Rodriguez, and he's going to walk us through the Taylor booth at NAMM and show us all the fun new Taylor guitars.
I might hang out in chat.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. We're going to try to record all kinds of video and get all kinds of pictures.
Yeah.
It'll be a good time. I'm very excited. It'll be fun to get away from all the cold and snow that's in Maryland right now. That's what I'm most excited for. The snow kept coming down. I'm like, I'll be in California. And it'll be a good time. So, all right. That's it. I'm done rambling because we're going on 40 minutes.
Okay.
So, I'm Jack.
I'm Jake.
This is Live at 5. See you next week.
See you.